My family walked past me while I was dying in the hospital, then showed up at my door years later when they heard I inherited Grandma's $10 million estate. Before we move forward, please show some love by subscribing and share your location in the comments. I love seeing where our family is watching from. The fluorescent lights above my hospital bed buzzed like angry wasps. My vision blurred as I watched 3 familiar silhouettes pause at my doorway. Mama's perfume, that expensive Chanel she always wore, drifted into my room before she did. Except she didn't come in. Through the 4-drip pumping antibiotics into my collapsed veins, I saw her glance at her diamond watch, the one Daddy bought her for their anniversary. "We're already late for Devon's recital," she said, her voice sharp with impatience. My brother Devon stood beside her, his face illuminated by his phone screen. "Is that the sister?" he asked, not even looking up. "The one who messed up again?" My younger sister Kennedy peered around Mama's shoulder, her braids swinging. "She looks terrible. Can we go now? Benjamin is waiting for me." I tried to speak, but the sepsis had stolen my voice. The doctor said I had maybe 48 hours if the infection didn't respond to treatment. I'd called Mama 6 times before she finally answered, annoyed that I was interrupting her spa day. "Kendra, you always need something," she'd snapped. "Can't this wait?" It couldn't wait. My appendix had ruptured 3 days earlier while I was working my second shift at the diner, and I'd ignored the pain until I collapsed in the employee bathroom. No insurance, no savings, just a mountain of bills I couldn't pay. The nurse found Mama's number in my phone under emergency contact. A joke, really. They never came through. Not when I needed them. They turned away from my door, their footsteps echoing down the hallway. I watched them disappear, and something inside me, something deeper than my infected organs, died that day. The heart monitor beeped steadily beside me, but inside I was already gone. Grandma Lorraine was the only person who ever showed up. While Mama chased status in her bougie social circles and Daddy buried himself in his law practice, Grandma raised me in her cramped brownstone in South Chicago. I remembered her kitchen, the smell of cornbread baking, the sound of gospel music floating from her old radio, the way sunlight streamed through her yellow curtains and made everything feel holy. "Baby girl," she'd say, pulling me onto her lap when I was small, "you got something special in you. Don't let nobody dim your light." She taught me to read before kindergarten, helped me with homework at her scratched kitchen table, came to every school event Mama was too busy for. When I turned 16 and told my parents I wanted to study art, Daddy laughed. "Art? Kendra, that's not a real career. You'll study law like me or business like your mother." But Grandma squeezed my hand and whispered, "Follow your heart, baby. I believe in you." She was the one who slipped me $20 bills when I couldn't afford supplies. The one who sat in the front row at my high school art show when my parents didn't even RSVP. The one who cried with me when I got rejected from my dream school because I couldn't afford the application fee. 3 years before my hospitalization, Grandma had a stroke. I was 21, working 2 jobs and trying to save money for college. I visited her every day in the nursing home, the cheap one Mama picked because she doesn't even recognize us anymore. But she recognized me. Always. "Kendra," she'd whisper, her words slurred but full of love. "My sweet girl." I held her hand as she died, singing the hymns she taught me. Mama showed up 30 minutes after Grandma passed, furious that I hadn't called her sooner. Growing up, I learned early that I wasn't the favorite. Devon was the golden boy, quarterback, honor student, Daddy's pride and joy. Every conversation at dinner revolved around his touchdowns, his scholarship offers, his bright future. Kennedy was Mama's miniature. Beautiful, popular, destined for greatness. She modeled for local boutiques and had thousands of Instagram followers by age 15. Then there was me. Quiet Kendra. Artistic Kendra. Kendra who asked too many questions and didn't fit the mold Mama and Daddy wanted. Why can't you be more like your brother? Daddy would say when I brought home A's instead of straight A pluses. Why can't you dress nicer like Kennedy? Mama would ask, eyeing my paint-stained jeans with disgust. I stopped trying to compete when I was 12. What was the point? They'd already decided I was the disappointment, the black sheep, the one who'd never quite measure up. At family dinners they talked around me, through me, about me, never to me. Kendra's going through a phase, Mama would tell her friends like I wasn't sitting right there. She'll grow out of this art nonsense. When I graduated high school, Devin got a brand new BMW. Kennedy got a trip to Paris for her sweet 16. I got a card with $50 and a lecture about responsibility. I moved out 3 days after graduation, taking my clothes and my art supplies to a studio apartment in the worst part of town. Roaches in the walls, sirens every night, but it was mine. Mama called me ungrateful. After everything we've done for you, she said, her voice dripping with fake hurt. You just leave. I wanted to laugh. What had they done? Fed me. That was the bare minimum. The real parenting, the love, the support, the believing in me that came from Grandma. And now she was gone. The hospital stay lasted 11 days. 11 days of surgeries, infections, pain that made me scream into my pillow at night. The social worker, Patricia, was a middle-aged black woman with kind eyes who helped me apply for emergency Medicaid. You don't have anybody? She asked, reviewing my empty contact list. I shook my head. I have people. They just don't show up. He squeezed my hand. Then we'll figure this out together. When I was finally discharged, I returned to my apartment to find an eviction notice taped to my door. I'd missed 2 weeks of work, 2 weeks of rent I couldn't pay. My manager at the diner, Joe, called me personally. Kendra, I'm sorry, but I had to let you go. You've been gone too long. I sat on my apartment floor and cried until I couldn't breathe. 24 years old, no job, no money, no family. Rock bottom, had a basement and I'd found it. I called Mama one last time. Maybe the near-death experience had softened her. Maybe she'd actually help for once. Hello. Her voice was bright, cheerful. In the background I heard laughter. A party. Mama, it's me. I got discharged today, but I lost my job and my apartment. I just need... Kendra, honey, we're hosting Kennedy's engagement party right now. Can this wait? You know how important this is for her. Something snapped. I almost died, Mama. I almost died and none of you came. Silence. Then, don't be dramatic. You're fine now, aren't you? Besides, you should have taken better care of yourself. We taught you better than this. She hung up on me. I stared at my phone for a long time, watching the screen fade to black. That was the moment I decided they were dead to me. All of them. I sold everything I owned except my art supplies. My furniture, my books, my grandmother's pearl necklace that I'd worn every day since she died. Gone. It killed me to sell that necklace, but I needed security deposit money. I found a room in a house with 3 other girls, all struggling like me. Tasha, my roommate, worked overnight at a warehouse. Girl, you look like you've been through hell, she said when I moved in with my 2 trash bags of belongings. Want to talk about it? I told her everything. About my family walking past my hospital room. About Mama hanging up on me during Kennedy's party. About feeling completely alone in the world. Tasha listened, then said something that changed my perspective. Family ain't always blood. Sometimes the people who love you are the ones you choose. She introduced me to her network. People who helped people. Within a week, I had a new job waitressing at a soul food restaurant called Mercy's Place. The owner, Miss Mercy, was a 60-year-old woman who reminded me of Grandma. You work hard and keep your head up, baby, she said. I'll take care of you. I worked doubles, saved every penny, ate ramen and day-old bread Miss Mercy sent home with me. At night I painted. I painted my pain, my anger, my loneliness. Dark canvases filled with shadows and tears. I painted until my hands cramped, until I forgot about my family's rejection, until the art was the only thing that felt real. 6 months later, a customer at Mercy's place noticed my paintings on my phone. His name was Craig Wellington, but a gallery owner from downtown. "These are raw," he said. "Honest. How much for a commission?" That commission led to another. And another. Slowly, painfully, I rebuilt my life from ashes. 5 years passed without a single word from my family. No birthday calls, no Christmas cards, no random check-ins. It was like I'd never existed. I stalked their social media sometimes, torturing myself with their perfect lives. Devin made partner at Daddy's law firm, married a woman named Ashley who looked like a supermodel. Kennedy married her Benjamin, a tech millionaire, and moved into a mansion in the suburbs. Mama posted pictures of family dinners, vacations to Dubai, Broadway shows. In every photo they smiled like they had no missing pieces. Like I wasn't missing. My art career exploded in year 3. My painting Invisible Daughter, a haunting portrait of a girl fading into darkness while her family posed for a picture, went viral. A collector bought it for $15,000. Suddenly, galleries were calling. Critics were writing reviews. I was selling paintings faster than I could create them. By year 5, I had my own studio apartment in a nice neighborhood, a savings account with 6 figures, and a solo exhibition scheduled at the Bridgeport Gallery. I'd made it on my own. Without them. But success didn't erase the pain. Late at night I still wondered why I wasn't enough. Why they could walk past me dying without a second glance. Tasha would find me crying sometimes, staring at old family photos. "They don't deserve your tears," she'd say. "You know that, right?" I knew it in my head. My heart was still catching up. The day before my gallery opening, I got a call from an unknown number. "Miss Kendra Williams?" The voice was professional male. "This is Robert Maddox from Maddox & Associates. I'm calling regarding your grandmother Lorraine Williams's estate. We need to schedule a meeting immediately." Estate? Grandma had died in a nursing home with nothing but her faith and her memories. What estate could she possibly have? "There must be some mistake," I said. "Ma'am, there's no mistake. This is regarding a $10 million inheritance." Robert Maddox's office was in a glass tower downtown, the kind of building I used to walk past and feel invisible near. Now I sat in a leather chair across from him, my hands trembling as he slid documents across his mahogany desk. "Your grandmother Lorraine was a very private woman," he said. "Most people didn't know about her investments." He explained that Grandma had inherited money from her father, my great-grandfather, who'd owned a successful chain of barbershops across Chicago in the 1950s. She'd invested wisely, lived modestly, and never told anyone about her wealth. "Why didn't she use it?" I asked. "For the nursing home?" "For herself." Robert smiled sadly. "She told me once that she wanted to see who truly loved her for herself, not her money. That's why she made her will very specific." He opened a folder. "Lorraine left everything to you, Kendra. The entire estate. $10 million, plus property in Hyde Park and stocks in various companies. There's one condition. You cannot share this inheritance with any family members who failed to visit her in her final year of life." My breath caught. Mama, Daddy, Devin, Kennedy, none of them had visited Grandma after that first week. They claimed they were too busy, that it was too depressing. But I'd been there. Every single day. "She knew," I whispered. "She knew they'd abandoned her." "And you," Robert said gently. "She left you a letter. She wanted you to read it after you learned about the inheritance." He handed me a sealed envelope, yellowed with age. My name was written on it in Grandma's shaky handwriting. I opened it with trembling fingers. "My dearest Kendra," it began. "If you're reading this, then I'm gone and you've learned the truth about my money. I kept it secret because I needed to know who loved me for me. You showed up, baby girl. When everyone else forgot me, you were there. You held my hand and sang to me and made me feel human when I was dying. That's love, Kendra. Real love. Not the kind your mama shows off at parties or your daddy brags about at work. The kind that shows up when nobody's watching. I know your family hurt you. I watched them favor your siblings, ignore your talents, dismiss your dreams. I saw you shrink yourself trying to earn love you already deserved. And I'm sorry, baby. I should have done more to protect you. This money is my way of giving you what you always deserved. Freedom. Freedom to create your art without struggling. Freedom to build the life you want. Freedom to know that someone saw you, valued you, believed in you. Don't let guilt make you share this with people who wouldn't share their time with me. They made their choices. These are the consequences. Live big, love hard, and paint your truth. Make them regret ever overlooking you. You are my greatest masterpiece. I love you forever, Grandma Lorraine." I sobbed in that lawyer's office. Ugly, body-shaking sobs that came from somewhere deep and wounded. Robert quietly left the room to give me privacy. When I finally composed myself, he returned with water and tissues. "She recorded a video message too," he said. "Would you like to see it?" I nodded and he turned his computer screen toward me. There was Grandma, looking friendlier than I remembered, but with those fierce, loving eyes. "Kendra, baby." Her voice crackled through the speakers. "If you're watching this, don't you dare feel guilty. This money is yours. You earned it with every visit, every song, every moment you chose me when they chose everything else. And honey, when they come back, and they will come back, you remember this. You don't owe them a damn thing." The video ended. Robert cleared his throat. "The money will be transferred to your accounts within 48 hours. Congratulations, Miss Williams. Your grandmother loved you very much." 3 days after I inherited the estate, my phone started ringing. First it was Kennedy. I was in my studio staring at a blank canvas when her name lit up my screen. I hadn't heard from her in 5 years and suddenly she was calling? My hand hovered over the decline button, but curiosity won. "Hello. Kendra. Oh my God, sis, I've been trying to reach you forever." Her voice was syrupy sweet, fake as her designer handbag collection. "Your number kept going to voicemail. I'd blocked them all years ago. Recently unblocked them just to see what would happen when the news broke. What do you want, Kennedy?" Silence. Then, "Is that any way to greet your sister? Look, I heard about Grandma's will. That's, wow, $10 million. You must be overwhelmed. I was thinking we could meet up, talk about everything, help you manage all that money. You're not exactly experienced with wealth, and I just want to make sure you're okay." I laughed. A bitter, hollow sound. "Now you want to make sure I'm okay? Where was this concern when I was dying in the hospital? That was years ago, Kendra. You can't still be mad about that. We were busy and you turned out fine. I almost died alone because my family walked past my room like I was trash. But sure, I turned out fine. You're being dramatic. Look, family forgives, right? Let's get dinner this week. I know this amazing place." No. Kendra, come on. Don't be stubborn. This money changes things. You're part of the family again now. Part of the family again. Like I ever stopped being family. Like money was the only thing that made me worth their time. I'm not interested in dinner, Kennedy. Don't call me again." I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking with rage and satisfaction. It felt good, denying her something she wanted. Minutes later, Devin called. Then Mama. Then Daddy. I ignored them all. A week later, someone knocked on my door. I'd just gotten home from the gallery, exhausted from finalizing details for my exhibition. Through the peephole I saw them, Mama, Daddy, Kennedy, and Devin, all dressed up like they were going to church. All standing on my doorstep like this was normal. My heart hammered. For 5 years they'd acted like I didn't exist. Now here they were on my property, invading my sanctuary. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. Kendra. Mama lunged forward for a hug, but I stepped back. She froze, hurt flashing across her face, hurt she had no right to feel. Baby girl, look at you. You look wonderful. This building is gorgeous. I told your daddy you were doing well. What do you want? My voice was ice. Daddy cleared his throat, his lawyer voice activating. Kendra, we know you're upset about the past, but we're family. We've always been family. Your grandmother's will has created some tension that we need to address. Tension. I laughed. The only tension is you showing up at my door after abandoning me. Kennedy stepped forward, her hand on her pregnant belly, a detail I noticed for the first time. Kendra, please. I'm about to have a baby. Your niece or nephew. Don't you want to be in their life? We can start over. Devin added, we made mistakes, but that's what families do. They mess up and forgive each other. Let us in. Let's talk about this like adults. I looked at each of them, these strangers who shared my DNA but never shared my struggles. You want to talk like adults? Fine. But not here. Not in my home. You don't get access to my space, my peace, or my life just because you decided I'm worth your time now. We met at a coffee shop the next day, neutral territory. I arrived first, sitting in the back corner with my back to the wall. When they walked in, every eye in the place followed them. Mama in her designer suit, Daddy with his expensive briefcase, Kennedy and Devin looking like they'd stepped out of a magazine. They sat across from me, their faces wearing practiced expressions of concern. Mama started, Kendra, we've been doing a lot of reflecting. We realize we weren't there for you the way we should have been. Stop. My voice cut through her speech. Don't give me rehearsed apologies. Tell me the truth. Why are you here? Silence. Then Daddy leaned forward. All right, I'll be direct. That inheritance should have been split among all of us. Your grandmother was clearly not in her right mind when she made that will. We're prepared to contest it unless you agree to divide the estate fairly. There was the truth beneath the fake concern. Fairly? You think you deserve a share of Grandma's money when none of you visited her once in her last year? Kennedy's eyes welled with tears. We were busy, Kendra. We had lives, responsibilities. I had 2 jobs and no health insurance, but I still showed up every single day. I still held her hand when she cried. I still sang her favorite hymns when she couldn't sleep. Devin jumped in. You're being selfish. That money could help all of us. I'm trying to expand the firm. Kennedy needs money for the baby. Mama and Daddy want to retire. And what about when I needed help? When I was evicted? When I couldn't afford food? Mama's expression hardened. You made your choices, Kendra. You chose to be stubborn, to refuse our help. I called you. My voice rose and nearby customers turned to stare. I called you from my hospital bed and you hung up on me. Don't rewrite history to make yourselves feel better. The coffee shop went silent. Even the barista stopped mid-pour to watch our table. Mama's face flushed. Lower your voice. You're making a scene. Good. Let everyone hear this. Let them know what kind of people you are. I pulled out my phone and opened my photos. Screenshots I'd kept of every ignored call, every unanswered text, every desperate message I'd sent over the years. June 15, 2019. Mama, I'm in the hospital. Please come. No response. July 23rd, same year. Can anyone help me? I'm being evicted. Nothing. December 24th, Christmas Eve. I miss you all. Can we talk? Read at 10:47 p.m. Never answered. I slid my phone across the table. You want to talk about family? About what's fair? You abandoned me when I had nothing to offer you. Now I have something you want and suddenly I matter. Daddy tried his lawyer tactics. You're emotional. Let's discuss this rationally. No. We're done discussing. Grandma's will is ironclad, Robert confirmed it. She specifically stated that anyone who failed to visit her in her final year gets nothing. She knew you were selfish. She knew you only cared about appearances and money. And she made sure you'd face consequences. Devin slammed his hand on the table. This is bullshit. We're your family. You can't just cut us off. Watch me. I stood up, gathering my things. You cut me off first. You cut me off when you walked past me dying. When you chose parties over my pain. When you made me feel invisible for 24 years. This isn't me being cruel. This is me finally having the power to say no to people who never valued me. Kennedy started crying for real now, mascara running down her cheeks. Kendra, please. I'm sorry. We're all sorry. Just, don't do this. I looked at her, really looked at her and felt nothing. You're not sorry you hurt me, I said quietly. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there are consequences. That's not the same thing. I walked out of that coffee shop and never looked back. They tried calling, texting, even showing up at my gallery opening with a lawyer. But Grandma's will was perfect, bulletproof. She'd known exactly what she was doing. My exhibition sold out. Every single painting. Pieces about abandonment, survival, finding family in strangers. Resonated with people who'd felt invisible too. Critics called it devastatingly honest, and a triumph of raw emotion. The money from the show went to a foundation I started in Grandma's name, helping young artists who came from nothing. Tasha became my business partner. Miss Mercy cried when I bought her restaurant building so she'd never have to worry about rent again. Patricia, my hospital social worker, now runs the foundation's mentorship program. These were my people. My chosen family. The ones who showed up. 6 months after the coffee shop confrontation, I got one final text from Mama. You've changed. Money made you cold. I typed back, no. Money just gave me the freedom to stop accepting cruelty from people who were supposed to love me. Then I blocked them all for good. Sometimes I think about that girl in the hospital bed watching her family walk away. I wish I could tell her, you'll survive this. You'll build something beautiful from this pain. You'll learn that being alone is better than being with people who make you feel alone. And one day you'll inherit not just money, but the greatest gift Grandma could give, permission to finally put yourself first. I'm not bitter. I'm free. And that's worth more than $10 million. That's worth everything.